My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. shadow of their heads magnified in size on the upper portion of the wall. This is demonic. It is illustrative of mental illness as well. It's also evidence of criminal activity. This is monitoring at the very heavily documented Starbucks at 706 West Hall Boulevard, where the corporation is engaged in a pattern of surveillance at every single Starbucks, as the evidence shows, and the entity engaging in a pattern of harassment and kidnapping as they are keeping evidence against them, while the entity knows that they're having the whistle blown on them, engaging in criminal acts of injustice, with both venues, 507 North Euclid Avenue and 706 West Holt Boulevard, have engaged in. This is the impossible light activity, while that which is not the sun is also overly at the venue, and it's currently 8:33 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is no mystery whatsoever, and it's shared with the people of the state. Starbucks' business is built into the criminal conduct of surveillance. The people of the state are also targeting me, not a stranger, knowing exactly who I am, while the entity is targeting me with impossible light, hitting my person, hitting my property, hitting my face with impossible light. The shadow of these demons' heads are appearing in this light up here that's pursuant to monitor. This is P.O.C. It is currently, again, 8:34 a.m. This is dynamic, impossible light activity, very demonic. And the people of the state are getting stalking in the drive-thru as well, okay? The demon that is engaging in criminal conduct at another Starbucks, where Starbucks is engaged in the corporation itself in criminal surveillance in the state of California, engaged in Title 18, Section 22618, Subsection 1 and 2. This is relevant to the federal RICO case, including the kidnapping that Starbucks engaged in with the state yesterday with the intent to obstruct justice. It is currently, again, 8:34 a.m. This is P.O.C. at 706 West Hall. I'll just show you the fake sun to complete. This is P.O.C.
So, I was trying to get arrested again.
That's a threat to kidnap.
That's arrest, yes.
No, it's a kidnapping. This is monitoring in here. And this is after nothing happened. They called the same person to a different Starbucks after nothing happened.
This is my error.
And they told you what happened after I purchased this drink. What happened? They just want me to leave. They just want me to leave. Okay. I just want to document this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. She engaged in assault and battery yesterday because it's not a lawful search. There's nothing to talk about. Nothing happened. They called you here like yesterday when nothing happened, but there's a pattern there. So you're coming in threatening to kidnapping when you don't have authority under the law. So I just want to get that. So you're here supposed to represent a threat when I'm free to use my phone like everybody else. And you're not here questioning why they're targeting, right? You're just here, oh, they want me to leave, and then you don't recognize the pattern that it's the same person. Do you see me? Yeah, and today I purchased something. So what's the excuse today?
So a business, they can refuse to...
They can engage in harassing anybody they want, right, in the specific environment? You're L. Edwards, right? What's your badge number again, please?
It's on your other video.
I know, you're a public servant. Can you please provide it?
Yeah. It's on your other video. Let's go.
Okay. What's your name, too? Quesada, you mean? Okay, thank you. This is in 706 West Holt, right? Okay, this is P.O.C. This is all the engineer light. This is Franci and Matt engaging in kidnapping. Nothing precipitating. They're engaged in surveillance, and they know that of the documentation with regard to the P.O.C. even called the same demons that committed kidnapping yesterday. And this is the pattern of conduct. You're going to pay attention to the body of evidence showing 706 West Holt Boulevard, very petrified of the evidence, putting them in prison, and coming, engaging in what is absolutely nothing. So this is evidence that the entity is engaged in surveillance. And you're going to pay attention to the entity engaging in criminal summoning at 1 in the afternoon at this same venue, evidence of the fake sun engaging in criminal summoning multiple times, and just coming in and enforcing harassment by the entity. This is why Ocean's going to federal prison. This is also why Amelia and Patty are going to federal prison. They're crossing path into the fake sun. This is the demons of Ontario PD gang stalking pursuant to criminal summoning. All right, they're keeping the evidence that I'm documenting under surveillance as well. Doing so not today because I didn't purchase anything, did purchase something, and he comes and engages in what is an unlawful threat under the fake sun and an engineered light. You already see that video evidence, and the fake sun is still here after 7, where they're engaged in that pattern of conduct, and the Ontario police are putting the people of the state in federal prison while they gang stalk together. That's Franci, that's Matt, and every other demon in the engineered light that's above their heads while they're engaged in what is exercising authority they don't have under the law, while they're engaged in criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C.
So you know, they're putting a 602 on you, so you can document.
This is all audible activity. You're going to federal prison. Go ahead, keep exercising authority you don't have. He refused to give me his badge number while he's gang stalking as well. That's a federal offense. It's obstruction. What else? Okay, this is the same department stalking day and night in helicopter. They're both going to federal prison. This is the entity that's gang stalking pursuant to what is criminal summoning. This is how they engage in that pattern of conduct. Entirely illegitimate and a demon-possessed criminal. All right, this is P.O.C. license 1591668. And I already documented everybody in this parking lot. The entity is intimidated by and fearful of it. This is how demons behave when they're scared about the whistle being blown. And this is exactly why the federal government is going to prosecute. It's a federal RICO case. And it's a federal RICO case against the government that's gang stalking with the people, which is what Starbucks represents. Okay? This is P.O.C. looking at everything that's uploaded to the Google Drive. And this is not interfering the P.O.C. This is literally the P.O.C. Remember, on the same block, the entity is keeping the fake sun over 507 North Euclid Avenue. L. Edwards is not a legitimate police officer, neither is QUEZADA. These are demons, and they're gang stalking, bearing weapons, and also engaging in criminal summoning as federal prison. All right, Ontario police engage in criminal summoning at this same venue well into the afternoon. This is P.O.C. This is the same gang stalking department using helicopters. Okay, this is the entity has the fake sun over the same venue at 6 o'clock this morning. They're monitoring. All right, and they're fearful of the evidence that I already have. Kidnapping is not the response. That's why they're going to prison. That's QUEZADA and L. Edwards. That's P.O.C. It is currently, this is a concession, and it's a show of weakness because I'm dealing with demons who are scared of what it is that I'm exposing about them. But the ordinary targeted individual, understand, they're repeatedly subject to harassment and kidnapping. That's exactly why gang stalking fake police officers go to prison. They're bearing weapons. That's a threat to my life. But for my documentation proving that they're targeting me, you are subject to what is murder. And they call it you threatening them or you violating the law in some way when they're engaged in targeting you. This is the pattern of conduct. All right, those demons inside of Starbucks, they are scared to death by what I'm documenting about between them and the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. You see what's published on the Google Drive as of 9:58 a.m. and I'm going to publish everything else. I was already leaving. I was going to the Ovid Family Community Library. These demons are fearful of what it is that I'm publishing. This is obstruction of justice, okay? That's the pattern of conduct. That's P.O.C. They're engaged in bathroom monitoring. They're engaged in ongoing monitoring with the people of the state, molesting me, my person with impossible light activity, while the Ontario police have been gang stalking at this venue all morning and then coming in engaging in what is a threat to exercise authority under the law you demons do not have. You're being disbanded and you're going to prison. All right, and she's monitoring me. License plate 5XNG694. They're monitoring with the police, with the minor child. These demons are driving all around the venue, molesting me with light inside of the venue. You've already seen the evidence of stalking with light. These are the demons engaging in what is criminal summoning with the police. License plate 8MQC298. This is pacing 8D91731. And this is what happens when you expose the entity for gang stalking, for criminal surveillance, for criminal conduct. Mike Lorenz is being removed. They're done with law enforcement. Mike Lorenz and the Ontario Police Department are being disbanded. And this is why. They're not only criminals, the entity is engaging in what is ongoing obstruction of justice, and the federal government is witnessing the impunity and malice of that government that's engaged in surveillance with the people. Driving out here is never going to result in sunlight on the roof, inside, on the ceiling inside of that venue. In the specific environment, they just engage in criminal summoning. They're gang stalking. Criminal summoning is with regard to trying to expel me because I'm documenting them, meaning they're mad because they're being exposed. Being mad and committing a kidnapping is a federal offense. The fake sun's over West Valley Detention Center at 12:51 p.m. yesterday, where the entity's gang stalking with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department as well. All right, this is P.O.C. Ocean and Amelia, Patty, Brian, Elena committed kidnapping yesterday, and the same entity. This is a different address. It's the same entity. The fake sun's not also going to be over 507 North Euclid Avenue. This is my shadow. All right, this is the entity engaging in the P.O.C., even the same entity that engaged in kidnapping yesterday. This is the pattern of conduct. The demons do the same thing over and over again. They do the same thing over and over again. Using the same kidnapper is supposed, that's a threat. The entity is supposed to be threatening me and scaring me. That's why I get these demons on. He's going to federal prison. So is Escobar. So is QUEZADA. Those two demons right there, they're going to prison. They're gang stalking me while they just committed criminal summoning. It's gang stalking. The police engage in gang stalking by criminal summoning. And they're all monitoring with the Ontario Police. They're engaged in criminal conduct right now. 89896Y2. Stalking with light activity. This is P.O.C. It's currently it's 10 o'clock on the dot. And this is not over the Ovid Family Community Library as well. And it's also not over the entrance of 507 North Euclid Avenue, the Starbucks that committed kidnapping yesterday. And I will be publishing that kidnapping because the people of the state are going to prison, and so are the demons of the Ontario Police, who are being disbanded for this public corruption that I'm documenting, and their repeated acts of obstruction of justice, including kidnapping that L. Martinez, B. Hook, Nathan Morgan, and B. Hook, L. Martinez, C. Torres, engaged in on May 29, 2025. They're going to prison because this is the gang stalking that they committed with Tracy Banks. And the entity has lost in their endeavor, and they're sore losers. But kidnapping, that's the basis of disbanding. This is why they're being disbanded. They're not just going to federal prison. They are going to federal, but they're not just being, the Ontario Police is so illegitimate, they're so corrupt, they're going to be disbanded, and justice requires this. And the people of the state are going to federal prison. Everybody inside of that Starbucks right now, they're engaged in gang stalking me with the Ontario Police. And they're petrified because I'm overwhelming them with evidence when they have no facts to prove. Why are you targeting me? I just purchased a drink and I'm in custody of my phone. So what does that mean? So are you. The entity's engaged in surveillance. They know exactly what I'm doing. All right? The entities, it's an admission to monitoring. This is P.O.C. at 706 West Holt Boulevard. And the body of evidence against the City of Ontario gang stalking at this venue, in the same way the body of evidence of the City of Ontario gang stalking at 507 North Euclid Avenue, the entity keeping the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments, the entity has the fake sun at the same time of year where LAPD is gang stalking, and the entity thinks that kidnapping and taking my property is going to stop me from exposing them and prosecuting them. They're being disbanded, and the people of the state are going to prison. This is Title 18 federal stalking. And this is what demons do when they're scared and when they've lost. Satan lost, and Satan is a sore loser. And this fake sun that's going to remain over me at the Ovid Family Community Library is why the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. Because they're gang stalking while the fake sun remains over me back toward what is 215 EC Street, where they're engaged in that ongoing pattern of the P.O.C. All right, it is currently 10:03 a.m. All right, license plate 7MPH631 9LUW157. He's engaged in surveillance in the Starbucks parking lot. He's committing kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department. I took images of him. He's crossed the path again. 9RVD 394 3994084. The entity that, again, has no reason to pinpoint anything that I'm doing versus anybody else in the cafe. And after purchasing a drink and sitting there literally minding my business, which is what the Ontario Police are observing. And this is, again, outside of even knowledge that the Ontario Police is engaged in targeting and surveillance. But outside of that, they're observing and coming in the same kidnappers from yesterday with the intent to obstruct justice. Very fearful because I'm publishing the podcast, because I am publishing the images to the Google Drive of the kidnapping in the specific environment where the police are gang stalking via kidnapping with the people of the state, who are, again, hostile to the federal RICO case against them while they're monitoring license 8AHA326. They're all monitoring with the Ontario Police, L. Edwards and QUEZADA. They're on video and doing so, engaging in what is expelling me from Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard, who have committed multiple acts of criminal summoning to obstruct justice. And what you'll pay attention to is in the video that you just listened to. He's referring to, they're removing you because of past instances. None of those employees were here. That happened years ago. And none of that was anything that I did wrong either. The entity's engaging in what is expelling because they're scared to death of what it is that I document, because they're looking at what I'm publishing and it's damning evidence. It is going to exact justice. And while they're monitoring, the entity engages in what is calling in what's supposed to be the strong arm. Okay? El Pollo Loco is gang stalking, license 5TWN 962, 5TWU 962. And with the Ontario Police, they're gang stalking with L. Edwards. They're gang stalking with QUEZADA, this female that engaged in assault and battery yesterday because they don't have authority. They're kidnapping, and touching my person is an unlawful assault, a sexual assault on my person, which I'm going to prosecute for as well. 9HGN118. So you're hearing them referring to because of what? Why are you kicking me out? Because of past occurrences when none of the employees stated anything about also past occurrences because they don't know about it. They weren't here. They didn't work there in 2021. And not only that, the entity is engaging what is making up, just like he did yesterday, making up first, number one, oh, well, you need to buy something. Okay, so how do you know I'm not going to buy something? And why do they need to call the police to get me to buy something? They usually have the employees go and ask if someone is walking in the cafe and haven't purchased something. The entity is seeking to remove my ability to upload my evidence, trying to remove my ability to publish it on the internet because I am literally pummeling the gang stalkers who are the demon-possessed entity, the city of Ontario. And I'm also documenting a kidnapping as I'm in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, like the evidence shows, which I'm publishing today as well. Those two demons of the Ontario police, they're both going to federal prison, and so is Escobar. Okay, so is Corey Watson. He was there with the female partner. I documented them under the 6:33 a.m. fake sun. They're going to federal prison. Nathan Morgan, C. Torres, L. Martinez, and B. Hook. They engaged in kidnapping on May 29th. Corporal Tedosky, gang stalking at Starbucks. He's going to federal prison. A lot of them are going to prison. They're also, again, being bullied by my evidence, and they're engaging what is kicking me out of all the Starbucks where I use the Wi-Fi to publish. That's the bare bones end of it. That's the point of it. They're scared, very much fearful of everything that I continue to expose about them, and they weren't able to falsely depict my character as being one that's mentally ill, so now they're going around engaging what is threatening kidnapping me every time they're showing up after nothing has happened. So what are you here for? What happened, Satan? Oh, well, they said that, they can kick you out if they want to. Yeah, sure, they can. And you know why they are? Because they're gang stalking. It's targeting. And it's targeting in the specific environment. And that's exactly what my evidence shows as well. It's bad business practices to pick on customers. Not only that, it's not just poor customer service. That's the context you're aware of. They're engaged in targeting me and kicking me out through the gang stalkers, the murderers, the sex offenders, the stalkers of the Ontario Police Department, who are already fully surrounded with evidence of stalking me day and night, including using helicopters, while their demons pacing around in engineered light, mentally ill. They're engaging in what is doing so through that police department with an intent to threaten. While these demons are molesting my face, my body, my hand as I look at my phone, because they're engaging what is harassment because of everything that I'm publishing. Stalking me and touching all over me with light is not going to stop me from publishing. It's still going on the internet. So then they called in the kidnappers from yesterday. 14129U1. 9EYH 710, L. Edwards, and this demon over here, they're going to federal prison just like their partners on May 29th. All four of them, those demons are going to federal prison as well. 71832Z2. This is Stater Brothers, the Ontario Village Shopping Center that's gang stalking. 9HET 748 57177B3. 7WXN 975. 9GWC 269. 9LXS 435. 7BTR 673. Gang stalking under the fake sun. I was at this same Ontario Village Shopping Center at 6 in the morning where the entity is stalking with the fake sun. And these demons are stalking as well by getting in their vehicles, maintaining light activity. And it's hours later. It's 4 hours later, and the fake sun's still over the same parking lot. License 7BRJ921. This old demon doesn't have a license plate. It says 1959, but that looks like the year of the vehicle, but that's the only plate on there, 1959. 7BRJ921. The entity, the Ontario police, are literally engaged in what are wearing badges and uniforms, trying to look serious as though they're engaged in some execution of their duty under the fake sun. They're going to prison. It's the obvious evidence of gang stalking, and they're going to federal prison, and they're engaging in criminal summoning because they are fearful of and hostile to evidence. And no government is going to interfere with you exposing, blowing the whistle, and a federal investigation, which is what the state of California is subject to. And they're doing that with the intent to obstruct justice while they're trying to kill me. They're trying to murder me and kidnap me. You're going to prison for that. That's the whole reason for gang stalking. That's the whole reason for police gang stalking. 8KRS076, 9NJJ962, 7PO4 756, 9ALW197, 32205Z1, 1UBG720. I'm even asking this impotent demon, L. Edwards, why don't you ask a question as to why they are asking me? I just purchased something. They're not there to engage in what is actually justice. And that's just on a common sense. It's already known they are gang stalking, period. But I'm just playing devil's advocate with this demon. Why don't you ask them, like, what happened? Why all of a sudden, oh, they don't have to have a reason. So you're there just to enforce harassment, which is exactly what happened yesterday. The entity is engaging in what is targeting in the specific environment. License 8LYH141, which Starbucks is already on the record, especially at that one. 26929S3, 9RRF178. They're all pacing around under the fake sun at the Starbucks at 646 North HOLT Boulevard.
license West Holt Boulevard, 9JZL980. And the Ontario police are gang stalking as this population is gang stalking. They were gang stalking on video that you just listened to while they're in the cafe where you saw that engineered light all over the walls and the ceiling. They're gang stalking while they're speaking to me, talking about they want you to leave for no reason. 7BRJ921, 8RIL526, 6LRV701. The reason is because they're engaged in Title 18 federal stalking. And the demons that thought that they were so powerful and that they were so clever, they've been caught red-handed, and a lot of people are going to federal prison for repeatedly kidnapping me as I've been blowing the whistle on the state of California. 22659N3 in the Ontario International Airport, where there's no terminals. They're much more west than the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They're much more east than the Tabor Professional Building. They are flying over the Ontario Town Center, which is much more east, but yet they're taking off over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. These are the L. Edwards is going to federal prison, and so is QUEZADA. 9EXC036 are pacing an engineer light. 9RFS459 pacing an engineer light with the City of Ontario that just engaged in what is criminal summoning. License 9FGE668. There's no terminal over the Stater Brothers. They're not taking off over Bonita. They're not rising in elevation. When you're taking off from 2500 and 2900 Airport Drive, for them to be hovering over the plaza. And I've documented the Ontario International Airport over a term of years, and you'll find from the beginning to the end of the day, the Ontario International Airport gang stalking under a fake sun, hovering over this venue where there's no terminals where you would be at that elevation or heard. 9CBF500-591-6283, 8RRK072, AWWI672, stalking with engineer light, 8APF647, gang stalking with L. Edwards and QUEZADA that just engaged in criminal summoning with Starbucks, the corporation. Okay, license N9NWC433. And this is speaking to the what you need to know about the company Starbucks. They are engaged in monitoring American citizens, and they're very hostile to you enforcing your rights. They want to make a lot of money off of American citizens, but they don't want to associate their logo with kidnapping, with monitoring genitalia, with stalking, with Satanism, with criminal monitoring, with public corruption. But that's exactly what Starbucks is. 9MSL840, 7KKV356, 5XHB680, 9LMJ282, 7ZDZ815, 9GXZ282, RS677, handicap, 6HTV350, 6HFD491, 6ABN216, 8JSW538, 7DNY437, 9DKY190. They're all gang stalking with this. Remember, they engaged in criminal conduct on video under the guise of engaging in their role as police officers while they're engaged in gang stalking. It was audible activity, relevant positioning, and light activity. They're under the fake sun in that cafe. Engineer light filling that cafe, gang stalking simultaneously while speaking the words about, oh, they want you to leave pursuant to the trespass statute that they don't have authority of because they're engaged in criminal surveillance. This is public corruption exposed, and this is obstruction of justice because I'm blowing the whistle on a demon-possessed population in California, gang stalking. That police department, this is why they're being disbanded. 9DKY190, and every gang stalking police officer that I document, including those that engage in kidnapping, they're all going to federal prison. Every single last one of them. 8PFR447, stalking with L. Edwards and QUEZADA, 38827T2. Stalking with those two demons who you can see, you can hear them speaking to me. They're gang stalking right now while the fake son leaves Starbucks and remains over me en route to the Ovid Family Community Library. 9LJK103. Stalking with Impossible Light, 6LBP470. With the minor child. Engaged in Title 18 with the Ontario Police. 9EVX441. 59269F3. 8KTF056. That's United States Postal Service gang stalking. That's activity creation while the fake son remains over me, waiting until I'm in the path. Demon. 4DON943. 5YZ, hold on. 5YYZ874. 59269F3. 9NZY008. This is P.O.C. That's the Ontario International Airport gang stalking by hovering over the same plaza where the fake son was present, as I documented in that parking lot, Ontario Village Shopping Center at 6 in the morning. It is again 10:17 a.m. This is P.O.C. 9 E.Y.S. 261. This is P.O.C. and this is entirely pathetic. It's very criminal. It's a threat to your liberty. This is exactly the severity that I've been describing from the beginning. Not only the Ontario Police Department, not only corrupt law enforcement, in other words, are engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct of surveillance, and their gang stalking amongst a surveillance system that you don't know is ongoing. Those that are not demons, those that are not engaged in targeting, because this is relevant to targeting. You're being targeted when surveillance is not constitutional. That's targeting, first of all. But the entity engages in gang stalking because of the targeting with the intent to murder and kidnap somebody, because the entity wanted to steal property from me in particular. And the demons know that I'm going to expose them because I see them spiritually, and I also know what they're doing. And I also have the ability to prosecute them in the physical. 04545X2, 4ULF812. Mike Lorenz, that entire department is being disbanded. That's P.O.C. It is current at what is 150 Bonita in Ontario, California. Excuse me, 150. Yeah, Bonita. The entity is flying over this house at 150 Bonita in Ontario, California. Migrating north as I'm walking north. They're not flying over the village anymore, stalking with planes. That's the city of Ontario gang stalking. And this is what Starbucks, Ocean, Amelia, Patty, Brian, Elena are engaging when they then engage in kidnapping because they've been inundated with evidence. They thought that they could be a bunch of demons that are, I don't know why you would think with a high school graduate, with a high school degree, while you're making coffee as a living, that you're gonna outthink me while I'm federally prosecuting you. Under law, it's Satan again. That's that delusional mindset. But I surrounded those demons with evidence, and because they've been bullied, they resort to what is criminal conduct with the gang stalkers that they're acting with, the corrupt police department. And guess what? That police department is being disbanded, and whoever arrives is going to federal prison. See, that's the long term. The entity is focused on the short term right now, and they're also consumed with the thought that that's going to stop the evidence, and it's not. It's evidence of guilt. It's evidence of guilt. 6 MIB 525. 7K67749. Starbucks threatening my life, Starbucks threatening my liberty, Starbucks engaging in what is kidnapping as an entity, repeatedly, including while they engage in criminal summoning yesterday, and including as they engage in criminal summoning today. But the entity, Starbucks is a part of the entity that committed kidnapping by a criminal defamation on May 29, 2025. That's why they're gang stalking at their venues. That's why they're engaged in criminal summoning of those same kidnappers to their venues, as they know that I'm documenting them, because they have no physical evidence and no knowledge that I'm documenting. So what is it? How do you know, huh? They're just coincidentally targeting me when they have no knowledge about what's going on my device? No, they're monitoring, like I stated, like the evidence shows, like a fake sun is proof of. 9MUZ 501. They're the entity engaging in what is kidnapping via criminal defamation, and it is one entity. And Starbucks, the corporation, is a part of that entity. It's a corrupt company. They're engaged in surveillance in the state of California. 7BYZ 314. 6SXA 521. And by the way, that's another basis of a RICO case against Starbucks, the people of the state. Starbucks is just a prime example, an elaborate, illustrative example of prosecuting corrupt companies engaging in surveillance with the government. The government relies on them, and then they summon the government to come and be in the face of somebody challenging and exposing it. And while they do that, it is evidence of everything that I've already proven unilaterally by myself with the P.O.C. 6XIE 308. 8U66689. And this is what Satan does, who is not a winner. If you think that Satan is powerful, if you think that Satan is better, if you think that Satan will provide more to you, he's a loser. And he's a delusional loser. And this is what Satan does. It's pathetic while they're being embarrassed on the internet, and they are scared to death every time I publish something on the internet. That's what that represents. That's not strength, stalking a woman in a helicopter. That's not a show of strength. You got a problem, Satan? That's 8MVA 726. That's a demon engaging in what is assault with a deadly weapon, swerving down the street like he wants to. That's Satan. That's listening to me speak the truth. They are scared to death. Scared to death. Satan has been bullied. Satan has been put in his place. Satan has been exposed. If you think that Satan is some sort of formidable adversary, he is not. To those who walk with Christ Jesus, you are promised, you are given, you inherit the victory. License plate 9HTM133. It's not about things. Guess what? I'm getting all kinds of new things that nobody's going to have any ability to steal. It's not about that. What it is about is the entity that's engaging in what is criminal conduct and thinking that Satan's going to protect you. No, he's not. Satan is going to expose you. Satan's going to laugh at you when he's done using you like an uncompensated prostitute. Satan's a loser. He's a liar. He's using you. And he is a loser. He's showing that. License TLJ 9695. That's Texas. That's why these cowards are showing up at Starbucks. Hey, they want you because they're scared. I mean, trembling. This is the reality. Trembling about what I put on the internet. Because this is while they stand up, they want to stand up like they're looking, like Satan thinks that, that you're going to think that Satan looks tough and authoritative with a badge on. Okay, Satan is a pussycat. Let's put it that way. All right? Satan is a punk. Satan is a coward. Okay, Satan is very scared. And so are all of Satan's little worker imps. And I've bullied all of them with evidence by myself. By myself. A majority is not based on numerality or numerosity. That's what Satan relies on. You know why? Because he's not omnipotent. He's not omniscient. He's not all-knowing. He is not powerful. He is not more of a better side to be with. You're witnessing the demise and the exposure of Satan. That's scared to death of me, following me around day and night in helicopter. Oh, no, that's not strength. That's terror. They're scared of me because they know who is in me, and that's Christ Jesus. Those demons are scared to death of me. Do not be deceived by what you're looking at. I'm prosecuting it because the ordinary target individual has a right to not be subject to that. And even as I document it, and I'm not scared of it because I know what it's rooted in, I have a right still to not be subject to that. Demon possessed or not, guess what? Under the law, police don't have a right to keep you under surveillance. They don't have a right to follow you around in helicopters and stalking you from place to place and then trying to harass you while you report them to the feds. The feds that are engaging in the pattern of conduct as well, that's going to be dealt with. License 8GUC 058, 8ZRA 938, 6THG 096. It is currently 10:24 a.m. This is P.O.C. and this is the evidence of the entity that is giving proof of the fact that, remember, I've already provided proof for you. And anybody that's watching, including the demons, okay, who's I don't know who you're hoping to, because there's no hope in Satan. And Satan and the Lord Jesus himself, he's not hearing you. He does not hear the wicked. You don't have any hope if you're sitting around hoping that you're going to watch me just utterly destroyed on the internet and on my YouTube channel, on the website. It's not happening because it's not about me. It's about the truth that people need to know. And if you are you're witnessing the entity admit everything that I've already proven. Because as they're engaging in what is stalking and kidnapping, following me around, because that's what it is. They're stalking as they arrived at Starbucks, engaging in criminal summoning. And then you're just listening to them try to piecemeal a reason why, which they state, well, we don't have to have a reason, while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. It's criminal surveillance pursuant to what is fear based on knowledge. And that knowledge is deduced from the specific environment. I already captured the video, and I've been documenting Starbucks since 2021. This unintelligent demon, they don't even have to have college degrees to be in police, to be a part of law enforcement. They don't even have to have college degrees. This demon was struggling yesterday as well. Is it because I didn't buy something, or is it because they just want me? Which one is it, Satan? Okay, because if there's a contingency, that's not a trespass. And me even asking this demon, why are you expelling me? Anybody's going to ask, why do I have, what happened? What happened? That's not a trespass either. But that's just going into the facts about what the demons are stating, which is all audible activity. It's all criminal conduct because they're monitoring. But I just like to show you the malice of unintelligent demons who are being bullied, and Satan cannot stand it. So what does Satan do? Kick her out. Get her out of there. Remove her now. And they also fail in trying to give a legitimate reason why. But there is no legitimate reason why. But I'm just stating they can't even get their information, their practical details under control. Like they can't make up for what? For what? For what? Oh, because you lose. That's why, Satan. Because you're a loser. That fake send remains over me to the Ovid Family Community Library. It was already supposed to be over the Ovid Family Community Library. I'm documenting my presence at the Ovid Family Community Library at 9:40 in the morning, 9:49 in the morning, where Ontario police are at the same time stalking at the entrance in a vehicle, gang stalking, monitoring with the people of the state coming out of the parking garage. But yet I'm watching them engaging what is threatening me because of the damning evidence against them that they're scared of. These demons that are scared of me stalking in helicopter every day. The federal government's going to disband the Ontario Police Department for what it is that I've proven about them. And the police that are engaging in what is incentivizing criminal conduct by engaging in criminal summoning, as I report criminal conduct that the people of the state are engaging in a highly intelligent manner. All right, because all of these unintelligent imps together do not equal one intelligent actor. They don't. Satan is a loser and remains a loser. A loser plus a loser equals two losers. That's it. The entity is engaging in this and is doing so while they're exposing the fact they are proving what it is my evidence already proves, that they're engaged in surveillance. They're engaged in Title 18 federal stalking. And they resort to kidnapping and harassment, which is the character of that spirit, Satan, as well. You're witnessing them behave true to form. And that's the behavior of Satan. That's the behavior of losers. That's not the behavior of anybody that I'm going to respect. That they don't have actually authority. They're wearing the badge. They don't have authority. License 57544L3. They don't have authority. I don't care about the badge. You engage in kidnapping, you're going to federal prison. They're being disbanded. I don't care. This is not based on the immediate circumstances. They're going to federal prison. They don't have authority, and they're mad because I am exposing that. And I'm going to continue to do that. And guess what? They don't have authority while a bunch of little high school graduates can't get their lives straight. And I'm bopping all their heads together intellectually while I document them with evidence, insurmountable evidence, because there's no factual response. You know what unintelligent demons do? They come around and harassing you and just kidnap you. Okay? If they can't think of a reason, well, because you didn't buy something. No, I just want you to leave. And I don't want you to ask me a question about it. So now that's a trespassing, and I don't want you to come back. They're scared. All right, the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. I'm at the same venue at the 706 West Holt Boulevard. Recall, as I'm coming from Los Angeles in 2024, and the Ontario Police Department is flying right over my head at that same parking lot where where L. Edwards is going to prison for engaging in criminal summoning. The fake sun is over me at that same parking lot at 3 p.m. after I came from Los Angeles. This is relevant to the P.O.C. It's the same time. He's going to prison. He's going to prison for kidnapping me yesterday. He's going to federal prison because of the evidence I have against him for gang stalking me through kidnapping. Okay, because the Ontario police are criminal, they're corrupt, and they're all together imbeciles who are inferior. So they resort to kidnapping. You go to prison for that. This is terrorism in the United States. You're going to prison for that. All right? This is the entity that is engaging in those that's pathetic. That's not authority. That's not power. It's pathetic. License E922V1. Stalking at the at the Wells Fargo. 9NAT153. Stalking with light activity, flashing light activity in the sun is not already over the Oba Family Community Library, where the Ontario Police Department committed kidnapping under those circumstances of the specific environment with knowledge pursuant to Title 18 federal stalking about what it is that I'm documenting, but stating on the surface that it's because they just want you to leave, not for any reason. Yeah, you just purchased a drink and I see you over here peacefully minding your business, looking down at your phone, but they want you to leave. That's the P.O.C. License 8PTJ927. License 8KEF130. License 9MGG013. License plate 9DXL242. This is the entity that is all, again, assuming that you don't remember the 85 videos of the Ontario Police Department stalking me every day, including in helicopters, like you don't already know what's up. That's what they're doing. Like somebody's really taking them seriously. They're really going to prison. 34921R3. 6LPG777, 7LNZ948, RM027 handicap, 6WBB853. These delusional psychopaths who are the people of the state going dizzy, wearing diapers, stalking me under a fake sun and with engineered light are the same ones that they're relying on to be at the venue talking about, can you have her removed? They're all stalkers. They're all stalkers. I'm very kind and courteous and respectful to the demons who are gang stalking me. And they're mad about that as well. You don't have a criminal on your hands, and you also don't have an indignant ignoramus. And it's very hard for them to make sense of why they're targeting me, but for the documentation of the pattern of conduct. They're very hostile about that. All right? It is currently, while demons are stalking in the path at the entrance in a very pathetic manner, in a cartoon environment, engaging in demonic behavior, it is currently 10:32 a.m. where the fake sun follows, which is also putting L. Edwards. Jason arrived at the, it is putting Jason Isaac Fields, by the way, in federal prison. So that's why that keeps coming out. This is relevant to Jason, L. Edwards, QUEZADA, the entity that engaged in kidnapping, and today, right now, engaging in a threat to kidnapping. What you heard him say, that was a threat, an unlawful threat. They don't have authority. They're gang stalking through what the words that he's saying. It's audible activity he's monitoring. That's a threat to engage in kidnapping, and he's going to federal prison. Gang stalking with these pathetic impossible light, license E922V1. It's also impossible light while they're driving, walking, present, singing, cleaning under a fake sun. That's stalking with impossible light. I show you impossible light so you understand the significance of what I'm talking about in a more illustrative manner. When you see the engineer light flying across the wall and on the ceiling and multiple shadows, like sunlight doesn't cause that. They're all stalking with impossible light, stalking together while they're driving under the fake sun, which followed me to the Ovid Family Community Library. L. Edwards and QUEZADA, I'm gonna get her fake name, her correct name. It's on video, I'll be publishing it. But his female partner who committed sexual assault yesterday, the entity that's engaged in gang stalking doesn't have any right to touch my person with impossible light, nor with their hands. While you are a gang stalking police department, that's a sex offense, and I'm gonna prosecute for that. But she's the one that's engaging in kidnapping yesterday, and they're present with the intent to threaten, because that's exactly what I documented, and they're going to federal prison for that under the fake sun that left that venue over me as I came to 215 E.C. Street. All right, it's currently 10:33 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 12:51 p.m. and I am at 215 E.C. Street in Ontario, not at West Valley Detention Center, where I will show you the fake sun over me, which is documentation of criminal surveillance. Alrighty, this is the fake sun that's remaining over me through the staircase window of the Ovid Family Community Library. The West Valley Detention Center is located at 9500 Etiwanda Avenue, in between San Bernardino Avenue and, as I remained at, Arrow Route, where the sun is not going to be over me in the same zenith as it is at the same time 24 hours ago at 9500 Etiwanda Avenue, West Valley Detention Center, where Shannon Dykes, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, is engaged in criminal surveillance, i.e. gang stalking, and it is evident through the maintenance of that specific environment. I am at 215 E.C. Street, the Ovid Family Community Library, where I'm present still at 6:02 p.m., where I documented the city of Rancho Cucamonga gang stalking me under the fake sun yesterday, and I'm also present earlier than now, which is evidence speaking to the maintenance of an environment that is unnatural pursuant to criminal surveillance, which is also demonic activity. This is all light activity pursuant to criminal conduct. This is monitoring as people of the state. PACE. And this is relevant to the kidnapping, that the gang stalking entity crossing path, monitoring in plain view. This is all Title 18 federal stalking, that Tesla is crossing path, stalking me, and knows that I'm here. And that knowledge is deduced from the maintenance of a supernatural environment. There's no sun over the West Valley Detention Center. The light source remained over me at the West Valley Detention Center, where Shannon Dykes is engaged in, and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department and every facility of San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department are engaging in state surveillance in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, Sections 1 and 2, and so is the Ontario Police Department. The entity is maintaining this light source, and it is the evidence of the kidnapping that the entity engaged in yesterday with the intent to obstruct justice, kidnapping with the people of the state. That includes the people companies that are going to be prosecuted in the federal RICO case. It includes Amazon Prime. Also a body of evidence in the same way that there's a body of evidence prosecuting Starbucks. These are the people of the state engaging in that pattern of conduct. Maintaining presence in the path in that supernatural environment, it's legally significant, and it's also criminally significant. Flashing of light and the engineer light, where they're doing so under a sun that's not at the same time over 9500 Etiwanda Avenue. Amazon Prime's engaged in state surveillance, and they are mates with the whole rest of the population under a light source that is not at the same time at 215 E.C. Street in Ontario, California, the Ovid Family Community Library, where the Ontario police are gang stalking at this same library at 10 o'clock in the morning at the Ontario City Hall, right back here, and the entity is gang stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library at 107 at the same entrance, as I document coming from third-party facilitating venue Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity committed kidnapping, as they are engaging in surveillance and repeatedly following me around, stalking, and engaging in kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice. The entity is documented, the Ontario Police is documented at 12:51 p.m. as well at 333 North Euclid Avenue, gang stalking under the fake sun, which is also not over the U.S. Bank, while it's over this entrance that I'm looking at, where the people of the state and Amazon Prime is engaging in Title 18 federal stalking. All right, the entity is identified as stalking as the supernatural environment is maintained. It is currently 12:55 p.m. This is speaking to the kidnapping committed intentionally with knowledge, which the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department have repeatedly engaged in, which is exactly what my documentation is consistently exposing on my website. This is the P.O.C.wordpress.com, and on the YouTube channel, where the entity is also engaged in surveillance, engaged in obstruction, suppressing my evidence, stealing my evidence, fully aware of what it is that I'm exposing about the corrupt department, the Ontario Police, under the corrupt and dangerous leadership of Mike Lorenz, arriving at Starbucks this morning under the fake sun, threatening to commit kidnapping. L. Edwards and his partner, the female partner, they're both going to federal prison. This is the entity that is the state of California engaging in that pattern of conduct. And this is also revealing the fact that it's not just corruption, it's not just surveillance, they're demons. This is reporting the mayor, this is reporting the Ontario City Council, it's reporting Michael Gherkin, Mike Lorenz, Paul Leon, and Alan D. Wapner, every level of government in Ontario, already fully surrounded with evidence, and is also revealing the partner, which is San Bernardino County Sheriff, who have repeatedly engaged in kidnapping with the corrupt city of Ontario, specifically the Ontario Police. It is a basis of disbanding both the Ontario Police and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. The entity is currently engaged in what is criminal summoning under a fake sun. That's not over, and that's how you're understanding their targeting, and they're exhibiting demon possession with specific knowledge about me and what I'm doing and where I'm at, while it's over the elevator, very exclusive sky space, and in the same time at 9500 Etowanda Avenue, where the entity kept the fake sun, as I documented, after 7 p.m. at Arrow and Etowanda Avenue, the same street, the same pattern of conduct, but not the natural environment. This is P.O.C., and the people of the state are engaged in surveillance in plain view. They're all stalking with impossible light while they're maintaining presence in an environment. This is exposing massive public corruption, and this is an exceedingly violent sex offense, and this is where Sean Thrasher has engaged in multiple kidnappings with that same entity that's gang stalking, sounding sirens right now. This is going to be a basis of a lot of people, including of the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state, who are going to federal prison. It is currently, again, 12:57 p.m. That is the city of Ontario that is going to be removed from position. The Ontario Police is being disbanded. The Ontario Fire Department is Michael Gherkin. They're done with being engaged in firefighting. They're engaged in state surveillance. They're engaged in stalking in fire trucks. Their mentally ill state is also disqualifying them from being in firefighting and from being in law enforcement. And the Ontario International Airport is used as a means of state surveillance. They are incentivizing criminal conduct with the people of the state. That's what Amazon Prime represents. That's what Starbucks represents. That's what the people of the state are doing while they're engaging criminal surveillance with the people in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. No small thing. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:57 p.m. This is the prosecution of the state of California. P.O.C. License 6NJG 960. $7J00093. Looks like 8X57906. BQB3618. That's a Washington plate. BEERCO 5UZF403. 8F38134. 7DMD284. 7J10398. 9CBL213. 8XBV435. 6UBZ693.
7VAN009, CY30V17, that's a paper plate, GMLU660, 9DVT257, 9SYB827, 6VRW203, 20184B4, 8UWY338, 9LUW157, 5GPX573, 8JZX94, that's Florida, 9956104, 9DIR172, 6WBB853, 8XDA771. And the entity is stalking with light as I'm walking from the library. The fake moon is over me. Remember last night at Rancho Cucamonga, the setting, the entity keeps the fake sun all day long over an intersection, over a street, from West Valley Detention Center to the the AM Arco at 12925. Etowanda and Arrow Route in Rancho Cucamonga. And as I'm documenting at nightfall, the entity, the population is stalking, including the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Rancho Cucamonga Police. And it's the same pattern of conduct. The entity has a fake moon over me last night in Rancho Cucamonga. The entity has a fake sun over me today with the fake sun. Total departure from being anywhere near 9500 Etowanda Avenue. The entity is monitoring with the sound of firecrackers to monitor my movement. This is harassment and terrorism, while a bunch of demons, sex offenders, psychopaths are stalking, maintaining methods of light all around me as I'm walking from one place to another. That's what the demons are doing. While they engage in ongoing criminal conduct that is documented, it's a surefire prosecution. This is, the psychopaths who are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That's audible activity and engineer light under the fake moon. That is not the natural environment that Rancho Cucamonga surrounded me with. The city of Rancho Cucamonga and the city of Ontario are engaged in the same exact criminal pattern of conduct. It is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:06 p.m. That's impunity. While you hear the entity, while the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, while you document the government, that's relevant to how long gang stalk and police officers go into federal prison. That's relevant to the treatment of gang stalking mayors and public officials, conspiring murder, conspiring theft, seeking to criminally defame American citizens. Is relevant to all of the above. It's relevant to the imprisonment, the prosecution of the people of the state. It is currently, again, 9:06 p.m. These are the demons at Woodside Senior Apartments, off of Laurel, off of Palm, off of G Street, stalking with the city of Ontario, including the Ontario Police Department. All right, communicating a threat, crossing path, and we're in concert with the demons, stalking in a parking garage just so that they can touch all over me with light. And the Ontario Police crossing path right along with them. And sitting back and looking at all the evidence published on the internet as well, and still engaging in more of the same. It is currently, again, 9:07 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, monitoring, stalking, creeping, while the entity sounds not helicopter, but firecrackers, 7GJV821. That's a demon stalking in the crevices around me while the entity maintains firecrackers. It's the sound of firecrackers because it's demonic. With the light is demonic as well. And these are demon-possessed people who are mentally ill. That's how they're going to be treated with regard to their demented and problematic and threatening behavioral patterns. 6JPT993. Ontario Police, vehicle 1045. Crossing path at G Street and Euclid right now. Excuse me, G Street and Fern. It is currently 9:09 p.m. Want to be clear, that's the Ontario Police exhibiting the same mental illness. That's what that's qualified. That's what you're learning about that. That's vehicle 1045 driving east on G Street, stalking in the same exact impossible light, the same mental illness. And you see it exhibited when they engage in kidnapping at Starbucks. You can see their mental illness in plain view. Those are psychopaths. Playing dress up like someone's taking them seriously as cops, putting their hands on me. They're going to federal prison and they're going to mental asylums. 5VSS464. They're not legitimate. That's not law enforcement. They're stalking, and everybody's witnessing them stalking the person that's prosecuting them. And their mental illness is put on the forefront. They're being prosecuted all over the internet, and their mental illness is becoming more and more obvious as these psychopaths are triggered by every word that I utter, which is the truth about their demented mind state, their perverted practices, and their obsession with me and my vagina, and their hostility toward the fact that I've proven that they're a bunch of criminals, they're a bunch of psychopaths and sex offenders, they're a bunch of murderers and kidnappers, they're criminals. And they're crossing path where the entity is stalking, monitoring a whole city. License 7DDP939. This is 636 North Vine Avenue. 711 is stalking while the crime scene follows me, and so do the demons. 4WXE567, 5TPZ599, and this is Ontario Police gang stalking through the demons who are the people of the state. Stalking, tracking your every move, keeping you surrounded with engineer light. 8GEU127, and 711 is going to be prosecuted as well. P.O.C. It's 9:10 p.m. They're all on surveillance cameras. All right, it is currently 9:18 p.m. and what you're looking at is images of stalking in the store and the path. Excuse me. And what is the maintenance of light into the store while the demons are outside in position and the demons are inside in position, and they're all on camera gang stalking. And that is 7-Eleven gang stalking. License 8GME529, and it's also the government gang stalking. And remember, this is direct and vicarious conduct. In the same way you're recognizing demon possession, Satan is using these bodies who are people with government identities, and they're going to be prosecuted. 5HUY831, LG star STAR. They're going to be starring in a prosecution. There's nothing that's they're starring in an embarrassing exposition of Satan and a bunch of stalkers. DF78S94 paper plate molesting. Okay, license 6XXT119. And what is, again, psychopathic about the demon possessed? The more that you expose them, the more embarrassed they are, the more guilty that they look. And that's exactly how this looks like nothing other than bare bones stalking, like I've shown, like the evidence proves. It is very black and white. The more psychopathic the demons become. So this is a characteristic of mental illness, but this is understanding the spiritual conduct. That's how the spirit of Satan operates. 79839W2 in a lost endeavor. It's the same thing with the domestic terrorists. This is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded, because of this mental illness manifesting in their behavior. They become more obsessive. They become more psychopathic. I see more of them at every corner. They engage in more methods of being around me, doing so in all methods, using the resources of the police, using helicopter, etc. This is the psychopathic behavior. The more guilty they look, the more they behave like heavy-duty stalkers. That's an unlawful threat. LK749 handicap. Stalking in the path with light activity. With no license plate. Let me show you this. All right, no license plate is bearing poorly, on the criminals who are stalking via the people, the Ontario Police Department. And it's also speaking to consciousness of documentation, surveillance. They know that they're being documented. Sitting there having all manner of light. This demon's got the dome lights on in the car, got the headlights, the brake lights on, and has no license plates on the vehicle. That's not a coincidence in the specific environment where I have this level of documentation published on the internet. License 7AEA653. That's audible activity.
They're all stalking, all right? And a bunch of psychopaths lined up in 7-Eleven, obsessively stalking me. They're holding the hands of their kids, stalking me. They're with their girlfriends, their boyfriends, their gay lovers, their dogs, stalking me, okay? And so is the police department. All levels of the government in Ontario are stalking me. Just like you saw the city of Rancho Cucamonga demonstrate obsession, concern, and unlawful and illegitimate concern with me. And you know how that is a fact because they kept the fake sun and the fake moon over me. They kept that which is not natural light under any circumstances all around me. And the people of the state are engaging in what is a pattern, a knack, an uncanny ability to maintain presence all around, never abandoning the path, while the government does things like fly over my head by helicopter, 7RCZ178, molesting together, 6XXT119. That's the mother in 7-Eleven. I took a picture of her. She's got a maroon shirt on. She's a psychopath, and she's a sex offender with a minor child. All right, chasing me down to molest all over my body. She's a threat, a sexually violent threat to that child. It's a female, it's a little girl. It is currently 9:23 p.m. She's on camera, and that's her license plate. And she's a psychopath who's getting an act of retaliation. That's why she comes around the block to molest me with light, because she knows that I documented her, and I'm speaking of her mental illness. Those that are this mentally ill, they need to be removed from, this is, remember, not just being somebody that's a responsible person, it's not true that you're stating they're responsible because they haven't had a hiccup with ever having their kids taken from them by CPS. That's not the measure. You have sex offenders roaming around. You have stalkers that have never been exposed with regard to an unspoken system. That's not the measure. The measure is engaging in this system, which is exposing what is corruption, massive corruption, and closeted mental illness, where you have people and children that are never going to be reported for being violated their whole life, tortured by their families, sexually violated by their families. And I want to let you know it's also spiritually significant. It's demonic. They do that to their kids with regard, and departments, government bodies, they do this to vulnerable populations where no one's going to hear them. No one's going to listen to them. They're already discarded. They're written off as criminals, thugs. They're written off as nobody. And the entity engages in what is violating them. And that is also relevant to the spiritual aspect. Satan uses people to violate other people in order to pass off spirits. Okay? So the entity is engaging in this, and this is relevant to what is not the measure because CPS has never been to your house, that you're not a child abuser, that you're not a threat to that child. Gang stalking, literally, is hard evidence of being a threat to a child. If you have the ability to engage in psychological torture, sexual violence, weird, demented, perverted things like stalking in a bathroom in a manner that you think nobody's going to know about, that is a direct threat to the safety and well-being of a child, let alone other people. You have a population of people. There's not an actual question regarding what's going on with the youth, regarding what's going on with morality, what's going on with the crime rate, what's going on in society. It's not a legitimate question. Why it seems to be everything is melting down. You have a bunch of demons engaging in all manner of things that are not addressed by the system because the system's engaging in it. The system thrives off of it. The system is facilitating it. Things like gang stalking, that's going right to the home. The type of people that are in that home and what they practice even as a household. Gang stalking families. That's what this woman is. She's stalking with her hand in the hand of her child. And she's stalking me. And then she's monitoring my evidence. This is a whole psychopath. And she's chasing me down as she gets in her car, mad because I got her license plate, listening to everything that I'm saying about her mental illness. And she's chasing me down in order to molest my body. That's a sex offender. She's in custody of a child that can't report to the feds, that can't represent themselves, that will be so indoctrinated, so accustomed to that abuse, thinking that it's normal and repeating that over and over again to their children and then their children. This is how that works. And it's demonic. It's demonic. So the measure is not because CPS has never been to the household. CPS was never in my household, and Tracy Banks is a pedophile. She would groom me. She's a pervert. So this is relevant to what is demonic. Having sex rituals, including children in your sexual relationships, engaging in what is grooming them in ways that a child isn't aware of. These are all the things that the demon possessed, they encourage because it's relevant to what they want everybody. They want everybody to be the same clan. It's demonic, in other words. And Satan is soliciting and seeking out and attacking those that are vulnerable to that demonic spirit. That's all I'm getting to. That's a predator. Okay, that maniacal conduct works for the Ontario Police Department. The demons that are stalking on the ends of the street, surrounding me with the perimeter with light activity, that's working for the Ontario Police Department. That has children. That has children that nobody is protecting, nobody's looking over, nobody knows about how those children are being violated, how they're being taught to violate other people, and it is relevant to what's going on in society and the type of people that are developing into adults and being and are contributing one way or another. They're all contributing very poorly. They're contributing to the demise. But you're contributing one way or another. All I'm stating is that it's not a mystery, and you should not be perplexed when you look at the news, because it's not a surprise. I'm documenting it every day. The P.O.C is directly indicating the mindset, sick mindsets. Taking time out of your day to take your children with you to stalk another person because they serve Satan. Her mind is not healthy. She's sick. And she's also sick as she is hostile. Understand that's what's motivating the Ontario Police Department. Okay, and they engage in more criminal conduct that they're going to be required to answer to the federal government for. All right, it is currently 9:28 p.m. This is the entity, evidence of the entity stalking me all day long, going from place to place, engaging in it in a very obvious manner and also a very demented manner. All right, but there is no normal mode of stalking, if you will. That it doesn't mean that everybody that engages in a level of obsessive stalking, for example, a prepubescent little 15-year-old boy that can't get over his girlfriend might go through a phase. That doesn't mean that he's a maniacal psychopath. That's what I'm talking about. This is not that. This is not that. All right? This is the entity that's exhibiting severe mental illness, while they're even as the fake moon and the fake sun. Understand how that's exhibiting the mental illness of the entity. While the entity is engaging in things like stalking in a grocery store, stalking via traffic, stalking in a cafe, stalking in a library, stalking in a bathroom, stalking as a police department. Don't you have something to do? Understand how that's exhibiting mental illness. And these are the demon possessed. These are the living dead. They're consumed with another person. That's their life. That's their concern. Because that's Satan's concern. They're doing the bidding of the devil. And I'm prosecuting Satan in the physical. Satan has a name. Satan has a police department that he owns, a sheriff's department that he owns. That's what I'm disbanding. Okay? It is currently 9:29 p.m. It's July 5th, 2025. This is P.O.C. That's the Ontario Police stalking with the people of the state. That's Impossible Light. That's the Ontario Police. Again, that was L. Edwards. He's going to federal prison. All right. You saw him come today, threaten me at the Starbucks where all that Impossible Light that you see on this wall, which is not the product of headlights, while stalkers are engaging in targeting me, which is what Starbucks represents. Starbucks engaged in kidnapping on July 4th, 2025, and they engaged in the threat of kidnapping today, July 5th, 2025, while the people of the state at the corporation, Starbucks Corporation, all of their businesses engaging in criminal surveillance. They do not have any authority under the law to engage in surveillance and then aid the government in engaging in that, and then obstruct justice by engaging in what is kidnapping, because the police are stalking. The police are stalking just like you saw them stalking in a helicopter right now. Doing so because they're going to federal prison. QUEZADA, that little midget psychopath, she's going to prison. She committed sexual assault and battery. Not a lawful search pursuant to a lawful arrest. She's a stalker. And she's stalking as a department with the demons who are the people of the state. That's the prosecution of Starbucks for criminal surveillance. Understand what they're doing inside of Starbucks where they're committing kidnappings? That's what they're doing everywhere I'm at. This is the specific environment. This is surveillance that you just saw the Ontario Police Department again exhibiting severe mental illness, the inability to control themselves. They're already caught red-handed for stalking an American citizen in unprecedented manners at a frequency that I could not make up. I have to document in order to prove it. And it's already been proven. And so they engage in what is threatening me again, repeatedly kidnapping me, doing so with the demons who are the people of the state, stalkers sitting at the end of the street with their hazard lights on, surrounding with light, while the demons keep a fake moon over me where they're stalking with engineered light all over the place, and I'm being molested with that which is not even naturally occurring from light fixtures because it's surveillance. The entity's flying over my head by helicopter pursuant to L. Edwards, who's going to federal prison. He's on camera today, gang stalking at Starbucks under the fake sun. He's going to prison. He's on camera yesterday under the fake sun at the Starbucks, and he's going to federal prison, committing kidnapping, assault, and battery. Pursuant to federal group stalking and monitoring, the Ontario police aren't engaged in law enforcement. They're engaged in stalking. And you're going to prison for kidnapping. And so is every other kidnapper. Nathan Morgan, he's going to prison. El Martinez, she's going to prison. C. Torres, he's going to federal prison. And B. Hook is going to federal prison. All right? They're going to federal prison while the entity is engaging in the P.O.C. That's stalking with the government. All right, they're doing so in an idiotic environment, keeping a fake sun by day and a fake moon at night in engineered light. None of this is constitutionally protected. It's not freedom of speech. And the people of the state are going to be federally prosecuted for state surveillance. And this is also why Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. And every judge that put their hands on my money, on my property, incentivizing state surveillance and furtherance of murder and kidnapping, where a bunch of delusional psychopaths and sex offenders are stalking me day and night, they're going to prison as well. This is P.O.C. This is stalking right in your face. This is why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. This is their mental illness as well. While the people of the state exhibit it, the Ontario Police mental illness is at the forefront of each and every single last one of their prosecutions for domestic terrorism, psychological torture. That's stalking. None of that creates light on this wall, creating dynamic shadows. That's a stalker. And they're working with the Ontario Police Department that's being disbanded. It is currently, again, 10:14 p.m. and you're looking at the Ontario Police that's still gang stalking. That's why L. Edwards and you saw Jason Dumont. He's going to federal prison. Yeah, you saw him under the fake sun at 6:41 in the morning yesterday before that same department committed kidnapping at that Starbucks where the entity keeps that fake sun after 7:26 p.m. He's going to federal prison. All right, it is currently, again, 10:15 p.m. The entity is sounding sirens while this demon is pacing in relevant positions, stalking with the Ontario Police Department. Federal group stalking and monitoring, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1. Stalking with another, this is group stalking. And the City of Ontario sounding sirens, this is exactly what the City of Rancho Cucamonga was engaging in. Stalking and engineered light that you see all over the place, this isn't normal light, those are demons. And the demons of the Ontario Police are going to federal prison. And as surely as they witness me document, just like that, a demon flies over my head by helicopter. They are going to federal prison, and the world's going to witness it because I told you before it happens. This is, again, the TABOR Professional Building. This is the entity stalking with light. Moments ago, a demon stalking at the same Woodside Senior Apartments adjacent, parked in the red, aiming their lights at me, which is, again, engineered light because headlights don't reach that far, while the Ontario Police were stalking in helicopter, communicating a threat, just like this demon is sitting in the middle of the street, focused on me, stalking with light while the demons sound sirens. L. Edwards is going to federal prison, and so is A. QUEZADA, gang stalking at Starbucks today, with the same people of the state. The same people of the state. Okay? The Ontario Police are being disbanded because they never stopped stalking, because that's what the people of the state are proving to you right now. They never stopped stalking. They're being removed from existence. They're done with law enforcement. This isn't law enforcement. This is stalking. This is surveillance. That's not law enforcement. And the world, the country is going to understand that the two are not the same. It is currently, again, 10:16 p.m. That's it. Ongoing terrorism by the Ontario Police. They like for you to witness their demise. They want you to see me testify to their going to federal prison and being disbanded. So I'm going to put this on the internet as well. While they are very much embarrassed by everything that I publish on the internet, and the more that they show up stalking me, engaging in what is threatening me, and engaging in kidnapping, they're going to federal prison for even longer because they're embarrassed by being exposed, by being sex offenders, for being criminals, for being stalkers, and for being demon possessed. It is currently, when you're looking at this light activity, understand that L. Edwards is going to federal prison. That's not coming from those headlights. L. Edwards is going to federal prison. He's a demon. And that was a demon flying over my head of the same Ontario Police Department. And there's a demon operating that vehicle, engaging in criminal conduct that's going to prosecute the state of California, because that's the exact same P.O.C. My shadow appearing at a distance away from me, and I have multiple shadows on the floor here, while I have what is the light source always in the sky during the day over me and during the night over me. You're looking at a population that knows exactly who I am. These are not strangers stalking. This is an entity that's full of demons as well, who are targeting. They know exactly who I am, and they also know what I say. And as I speak to the truth, the entity is embarrassed, and they engage in, because they're psychopaths, they engage in more harmful conduct to their own detriment. L. Edwards is going to federal prison. A. QUEZADA is going to federal prison. P.O.C. It is currently, again, 10:18 p.m. Disbanding is for incentivizing public corruption, like the Ontario Police are. They're a harm to the public. They're being removed. P.O.C. The entity is incriminating the gang stalkers at Starbucks, as they always are, as they have been incriminating the kidnappers from May 29th. Ceaseless targeting, stalking, monitoring as a population. This is called crossing path. The Ontario police are stalking me in the same way that the people of the state are. This is pacing with engineer light. All right, that's the Ontario police gang stalking with the people of the state. All right, engaging in that pattern of conduct with impunity and malice. This defiance, as though they're going to tell the federal government, which no sane person is going to do that. They're certainly not going to do it on video for it to be played in federal court, regarding the lawlessness that the corrupt police department has been practicing for years, engaging in surveillance and keeping the evidence against itself under surveillance, and still continuing to engage in that criminal conduct, which is psychologically harmful, sexually perverted. It is also an unprecedented violation of privacy shared with a population of people who operate with that same mentally depraved level of criminality. This is my upright shadow, and here are the multiple shadows on the ground. That's called crossing a path, what they're doing under the fake moon. And this is where the fake sun rises. Don't forget where it's at 6:30. That's the Ontario police, again, giving evidence against L. Edwards. But you don't need that. You already know that L. Edwards is stalking while he engaged in the exercise authority today, while engaging in the pattern of conduct. And how do gang stalking police officers, that's an oxymoron. How do they engage in gang stalking in plain view? By engaging in criminal summoning. That's Satan that's dressed up like a police officer, wearing a badge, bearing weapons, and speaking and behaving as though they have authority under the law when they are stalking you. And that's the basis of federal prison. Law enforcement and stalking and surveillance are not the same. And this country is going to understand that, especially as you watch the demise of Mike Lorenz's demon-infected Ontario Police Department. Every single last one is done with law enforcement permanently, and it is being disbanded. Okay? Right now, that's a demon having a they're crashing out. They're flying in circles. That's a crash out. That's mental illness exhibited. Okay? This is P.O.C. And this is what I mean with regard to triggering the mentally ill while they are keeping the evidence of their stalking me under surveillance, and they react, which I document in order to have both not only a diagnosis but a prosecution. All right, this is the entity stalking with the people of the state. Remember, the people of the state are exhibiting mental illness as well. They're stalking with light conduct. It's going to be at the forefront regarding psychopathic behaviors. It's going to affect their relationship with their children, custody of their children, the ways, the departments, the industries that they can work in with regard to engaging in domestic terrorism, sexual violence, surveillance with the government, trying to murder and kidnap people and defame them, to steal from them in the most malicious and psychopathic, inexplicable manner. Yeah, that's definitely a threat to the public. It's going to alter the trajectory of their lives. This is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking here. This is the department that came to Starbucks this morning engaging in criminal summoning. Starbucks did not have to call them and tell them anything. Starbucks is engaged in surveillance with the Ontario police, who are engaged in stalking me from place to place, day and night, including in bathrooms. And no sex offender is going to be a part of law enforcement. Okay? It's not. They're going to be removed. Engineer lights move across this wall while this demon is stalking with the demon flying in circles, the Ontario police. Okay? That's P.O.C. Crossing path, crossing path, crossing path. This is surveillance. And this is the mental illness of the Ontario Police Department put on full display. They're not well. They are not well, and they're also engaging in criminal activity, which is disqualifying from law enforcement. Repeatedly engaged in kidnapping to obstruct justice, okay? Because you're not supposed to be aware of the ways in which they're engaged in psychological torture and threatening American citizens whom they are targeting in demonic and psychopathic and perverted ways, which are designed to falsely depict the character of that person. And ironically, based on the evidence, it is providence. The entity is going to be diagnosed and prosecuted. Provides evidence against its own mental illness. engages in the behavior of pacing all around me, stalking me everywhere, and flying in circles over me. Because that's what this is in the engineer light. My multiple shadows on the ground, my shadows appearing on this side, on this sign at a distance. What do you think the people of the state are doing? They're stalking. You just witnessed them engaging in criminal activity in plain view, and that level of impunity is why the Ontario police is being disbanded, and the people of the state are going to be treated like they are. Starbucks, the corporation, is going to be prosecuted for this surveillance that they're engaging in inside of the cafe. This light activity fills the cafe where they're engaged in surveillance. All right, this is P.O.C. This is a pattern of conduct, criminal activity creation. None of it is private speech, and none of them have any shelter where they live. Fully exposed to a prosecution, a comprehensive one. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the entity engaging in that pattern of conduct with regard to stalking with the... And when you engage in stalking with the police, you go to federal prison, because that's where the police go. They're not actual police. They're not legitimate police. And I want to be clear, they're pacing in and out at 7-Eleven, who is gang stalking with the police right now. They are targeting me, engaging in criminal conduct. They're engaged in federal stalking with the police right now that just engaged in inexplicable and highly demented pacing, flying in a circle for a prolonged period while they are hostile, again, in their hostility, their aggression, their fruitless stalking, which is going on the internet to prosecute them and the city of Ontario and the state of California in inexplicable light. That's not the product of headlights. That's the Ontario police stalking. That's called stalking with light. All right, that's what demons do. That's the significance of this happening. My shadow moving across this sign, that's impossible light activity. They're all stalking with light. They're doing this all day long while the fake sun remains over me, and they're all around stalking, including the Ontario police. They're stalking with light. All right, stalking with light is relevant to criminal surveillance, and that's all inside a Starbucks, where they're literally engaging in the same conduct. Driving outside, engineer light all inside of the Starbucks. Okay, the unintelligent defendants who are going to be in federal court with regard to the unprecedented crime of surveillance in the United States of American citizens without their knowledge and consent, outside of any constitutional authority under the state and federal constitutions, is the disbanding of the Ontario police repeatedly kidnapping in order to obstruct justice. All right, this is Tracy Banks' co-defendant. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. With this kook, she tried to falsely depict my character as mentally ill when these are mentally disturbed, obviously mentally disturbed stalkers, and you cannot work with any of them in trying to falsely depict my character. It is totally rendering illegitimate everything that the entity has sought to use to malign my character, and that was malicious. It was also highly unintelligent while I've been maintaining a body of evidence to prosecute them for targeting me from day one. Okay? This is what Tracy Banks is working with. These psychopaths that are stalking me day and night. Okay, that's not very wise and prudent. It's going in federal court, and it's speaking to the conspiracy to steal from me by criminally defaming my character. The Ontario police that have routinely engaged in kidnapping and criminal defamation. They're going to federal prison, and so is Tracy Banks. It is currently, again, 10:40 p.m. where the entity made a decision. Understand, psychopathic behavior is based on volitional conduct. They decide to engage in the criminal conduct that they also know is going on the internet. For the world to witness the prosecution on the online, and you're also going to witness the prosecution in a federal tribunal. All right, this is the disbanding of the Ontario police and the prosecution of the state of California. There's no coincidence when the city of Rancho Cucamonga is engaging in the same P.O.C. in an environment that is entirely impossible to exist naturally. And this is letting you know about the closeted mental illness of the demon-possessed who are gang stalking in the United States. And the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded for it. This is P.O.C. The criminal conduct of the people of the state is going directly toward the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. It is currently 10:41 p.m. P.O.C. All right, ongoing documentation. It's 10:48, starting at 10:47 p.m. The Ontario Police not going anywhere, stalking, repeatedly pacing. That's demonic pacing as they're patrolling back and forth. And on video, you saw them flying in a circle, exhibiting severe mental
I call it severe mental illness, to put it generally speaking, but there's an anxiousness, there's a frustration, there's a mania there as they practice this ritualistic pacing conduct in the helicopters when they're stalking me all over the city day and night, as I've been documenting for years. The entity's engaging in that, not going anywhere, and this is documentation of that 10:48 p.m. flying over me again at the TABOR Professional Building in the specific environment. The entity is stalking me in particular in the middle of the night while the stalker is being documented. That's an intolerable threat, not only because they're gang stalking police officers, but because they're engaging in what is threatening the person that is documenting. A stalker that threatens you because you document them, that's a maniacal psychopath. Okay, that's a wannabe would-be murderer. That's a rapist. That's somebody that doesn't take the word no. Stop stalking me. This is somebody that's engaging in using a helicopter to communicate that threat. The most extreme, most psychopathic, most irrational, just nonsensical, just the most unheard of, just ridiculous level of seeking to inflict harm and violence and fear. Okay. In other words, the weird psycho is the Ontario police, and all of the mentally deranged are being removed from law enforcement in Ontario, California. It's 10:49 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the second night in a row. This is an old, dirty pedophile stalking in the dark, parked in the red, gang stalking with the Ontario police, stalking in the path with light. As I documented, this is that same third party, 8RXL751. Okay, it's a mystery. How many children has he molested? He's stalking. Look at my shadows. This is stalking. The people of the state are molesting me with impossible light. He is stalking. The Ontario police are stalking. He's monitoring, stalking in the path in close proximity while the demons are maintaining light activity, engaging the group conduct together. He's even wearing the same blue shirt. This sex offender gang stalking with the people of the state and with the city of Ontario. This is criminal surveillance. It's license 8RXL751. This is P.O.C. It's federal stalking in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. It's also an unlawful threat. It's a threat to your harm and safety and well-being. It's psychologically harmful while a population is stalking in this manner, engaging in surveillance as an entity. 10:59 p.m. And this is again the third party that I documented the other night stalking. The demon had his lights on, parked in the red, and the moment that I look at him while the demons are monitoring you, and he immediately turns his headlights off. Then he sits for over an hour, sitting in the dark, monitoring, stalking in the path. Okay, and he's back on another night doing the same. This is P.O.C. license 8RXL51. This is P.O.C.